before we jump into our Haterade pod here, Dan Titus, we have one little bit of news to cover from over the weekend. And frankly, this might actually bring out maybe the hater in me. Gardner Minshew has won the starting job at quarterback for the Las Vegas Raiders. Antonio Pierce announced that over the weekend. Dan, before I give my 2 cents on this, you tell me what was your reaction to Minshew being the guy over Aiden O'Connell and just kind of how this sets your expectations for the Raiders offense.
I think it's just the Raiders just doing what they can do to muster that, to have some kind of floor for this fan base here, because Aiden O'Connell, yeah, he was okay last year with when Pierce was under the helm, and this became a run-first team, so I wasn't really excited on the pass catchers anyway, but at least we saw Michael Pittman be a pretty good fantasy receiver last year with Gardner Minshew at quarterback. So I'm hoping, praying that resonates with Davante Adams, because we saw how visibly frustrated he was with the Jimmy Garoppolo experience for much of the last season. So I think it actually is a good thing for Davante and the pass catchers. We'll just see how long it lasts. Like, if they don't get any wins, I think that this is going to be a pretty short leash for Gardner Minshew. And I don't know, probably fantasy managers as well. Their hopes are going to go down as much because this is too much volatility at quarterback and the Raiders.
Man, the Raiders are a weird team because there are parts of this roster that I do want to get really excited about. You know, to be honest with you, Dan, Davante Adams, Jacoby Myers, Brock Bowers, and some of the supporting characters here on offense, with the line that I think is probably closer to average than the bottom of the league. Maybe even they could probably push slightly above average, in my opinion. That all together, I would be excited about that with almost any other quarterback situation than Gardner Minshew versus Aiden O'Connell. I just think, and I said this at the time when they signed Minshew and just said, oh yeah, he's going to compete with O'Connell for the starting job. I was like, this has to have the least juice I've ever seen out of a quarterback battle, because isn't even if one of these guys is a former first round pick that, like, oh, he's a Baker Mayfield. Is this a reclamation project? Obviously JJ McCarthy's out for the season now at this point, but Sam Darnold versus JJ McCarthy. This is a former high pedigree guy and a rookie first round pick. This guy that was a day 3 draft pick in Aiden O'Connell, who you said played fine last year. I think I'd agree with that. I think he showed a lot to maybe be excited about, but nothing like, oh, this is the future of the franchise. And Gardner Minshew is I think, good backup quarterback that you want to get you through a stretch, but not a guy that's even in the Fitzpatrick tier of, oh, we could put together an exciting offense with Gardner Minshew. I mean, the guy's got exciting facial hair and he's got exciting hair, but I wouldn't say that his game is an exciting product to watch. So that altogether was already just kind of like, okay, I don't really know how to feel about that. And to me, look, and obviously I think the way they pitched this quarterback battle was these two guys are going to compete in camp, and who's ever better in camp is going to be the week 1 starter. And I think so far from everything we've heard, Gardner has been better than O'Connell in camp. I just thought if it was me, I'd want to see what O'Connell has in the first 4 weeks. And like, if you're losing games, you start out, 1-3 or something. Yeah, then you go with Minshew because you know what that is. So I think we will see Aiden O'Connell at some point. And yeah, I know we're going to talk about players we're avoiding. I have at least one Raiders player when we get to this exercise. But yeah, just generally, Dan, I don't want to invest into in fantasy in an offense that I already feel at some point will be starting 2 quarterbacks, no doubt about it.
Yeah, you're pretty much banking on the battle of backups here. So, like, while I think Davante Adams should be okay, it's the other pass catchers that I'm a little bit more concerned about. It's pretty much a mid-off. So you're right. Like, it's not exciting. The Raiders should have definitely been in the market for a better marquee quarterback, try to trade for someone. I don't think we're going to see Gardner Minshew all season, but to your point, this is just the lesser of 2 evils here. It's like, hey, let's throw out a guy that we know can somewhat play competently, and if he doesn't work out, then we'll turn to the other guy. So we'll see how it does, but I'm not targeting any Raiders very highly in my draft boards.
Yeah, not to mention, too, what Minshew did last season and it wasn't good. Like, it wasn't above average play behind center for the Colts. A lot of it was RPO based. It was get the ball out quick on in-breaking routes to Michael Pittman as the first read guy. That's not really I don't think that's what we'll see under Luke Getsy in this offense, because it's hard to tell because they played with Justin Fields, who's a specific type of quarterback in Chicago, and a very different type of quarterback than Gardner Minshew. So we don't quite know what philosophically Getsy's bringing to the table. But yeah, Davante Adams as the 7th pick in the second round by consensus 4-for-4 ADP. That is someone I definitely considered with. I don't know if I love investing into Davante Adams at that ADP, especially when there's so many other talented receivers around him. So, and again, he's probably the most comfortable click I have in this Raiders offense right now. Not great. We'll see. The Raiders' first 4 games at Chargers, at Baltimore, versus Panthers at home. Home against Cleveland. That's obviously the Panthers are in the mix here, but otherwise that could be a potentially tough schedule. So we shall see what year 2, the first full season of the Antonio Pierce experience brings us.